Thank you. I'm going to put the recording first.
Recording in progress.
I'm launching the webinar. Yes, you can see the numbers going up. The participants are joining us. Welcome, dear participants. I would like to welcome each and every one of you for the international webinar on National Education Policy, the opportunity to integrate values in curriculum designing. I'm Rajula, the National Officer of Globeethics.net India. Globeethics.net is an international forum committed to ethics in higher education. This webinar is a joint effort of Human Value Cell of St. Francis College for Women based in Hyderabad and Globeethics.net India based in Bangalore. We are excited to host this international webinar today. We begin today's webinar with a keynote address by Dr. R. Limbadri, the Chairman, Telangana State Council of Higher Education. That will be followed by a presentation on ethical foundations of global partnership by Ms. Christine Housel, who has joined us from Geneva. After that, there will be 3 talks by Ms. Karuna Rajan, Dr. Joseph Dunstan, and Dr. John Methuselah. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. This international webinar is being recorded and a video of it will be available and it will be shared on request for you to watch and share. Only the speakers can be seen, but you as a participant can use the chat box and your messages will be seen by everyone and recorded as part of the meeting. You are encouraged to introduce yourself, to share your own ideas, and to ask questions. We will ask our speakers to address as many of the questions you put in the chat box as possible. Having said that, I take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Jyoti Rani for the welcome speech. Dr. Jyoti Rani, the floor is yours.
Hi, good day to everyone. I'm Dr. Jyoti Rani. Great things happen when there is gathering of great minds. It is with great anticipation, I, Dr. Jyoti Rani, Assistant Professor in Zoology, St. Francis College for Women, Coordinator of Human Values Education Cell, and Coordinator for today's program, welcome all the distinguished speakers and participants across the globe for the International Conference on National Education Policy, the opportunity to integrate values in curriculum designing. The objective of this conference is to move the education system towards real understanding of curriculum and pedagogy reforms. As quoted by Swami Vivekananda, education is the manifestation of perfection already in man. This conference is aiming to create a holistic development equipped with skills and imbibing the values. We, St. Francis College, is delighted to collaborate with Globeethics, Net India, an organization committed to ethics in higher education. We are looking forward for such programs in future in partnership with Globeethics.net India. St. Francis College for Women is a pioneer in setting trends and adopting the latest developments in education system. In 2021, St. Francis College is the only college that has secured 85th position in NIRF ranking among all conventional degree colleges of Telangana state. We would like to present to you the video screening of St. Francis College for Women. So relax and enjoy the digital tour of our campus.
The audio seems to be not working.
St. Francis College for Women, a premier educational institution in the state of Telangana, stands tall as a leader and trendsetter in its commitment to a value system directed towards qualitative self-improvement. Our college motto, Wisdom and Peace Through Love, has been our constant guiding light. The 28 departments the college runs, both postgraduate and undergraduate programs across the disciplines of arts, science, commerce, and management, supporting the institution's vision for comprehensive and holistic education. Affiliated to Osmania University, St. Francis College for Women was one of the first colleges in erstwhile Andhra Pradesh to be awarded autonomy in 1988. Using the freedom of autonomy, the development and design of curriculum is done keeping in mind the national goals as well as the current needs of society. In 2005, the choice-based credit system was introduced to offer opportunities and avenues to learn beyond the core subjects, contributing to one's holistic development. Career-oriented diploma programs and short-term certificate courses give an opportunity to earn additional credits while the student is earning her regular degree. In the 62 years of its existence and 32 years of autonomous status, we were among the first higher education institutions in India to comply with the necessary stringent quality requirements of the UGC. We have gone through 4 cycles of re-accreditations, receiving an A grade. We were also recognized as college with potential for excellence in 2004 and 2014. We are proud of being the only college in the state of Telangana to be featured in the top 100 of the NIRF ranking consecutively for the last 3 years. Located in the heart of the city, we have a campus area of 8 acres with 43% green cover, well-furnished and ventilated classrooms equipped with necessary ICT facilities, state-of-the-art laboratories, well-stocked library with defined physical spaces ensures a conducive learning environment. Our students belong to diverse backgrounds and have different learning needs. Every effort is made to serve these needs through effective teaching-learning experiences. As part of the learner-centered education, the teachers consciously employ an interactive and participatory approach, creating a feeling of responsibility in the students, making them creators of knowledge rather than merely seekers. Extension activities of the student community in the college are executed through the different student clubs, which provide a platform to the students to develop their organizational and leadership skills. The Center for Career Guidance and Placements provide an effective and mutually beneficial platform for job seekers and job providers. Every year, leading industries and MNCs visit SFC for campus placements and have always found what they seek: a well-groomed professional with effective skills and knowledge in the domain that they are employed in. The college is also fortunate to count among its alumni distinguished personalities in the government services, art, business, and the STEM sectors. Our motivated and enthusiastic bunch of students have made us proud with their participation and achievements at several prestigious co-curricular and extracurricular competitions. We are proud of all our student achievers. Our faculty members are committed to maintaining quality in teaching and research. True to its vision and mission of transforming the life of every student who enters the portals of this institution, SFC constantly strives for a dynamic environment, keeping pace with the changing needs of society. SFC aims at training young women to be better and to do better to establish harmony and goodwill in the society.
Okay. I deem it an honor and pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Sister Sandra Horta, Principal of St. Francis College for Women and former Head Department of Biochemistry. Sister Principal is a perfectionist in her work, a good motivator, a visionary, and enterprising in academics. Under her dynamic leadership, the college was accredited with A and secured 85th position in NIRF ranking. I now invite Dr. Sister Sandra Horta, Principal, St. Francis College, to deliver presidential address to the most august gathering. Welcome, Sister.
A very good and gracious afternoon to everyone who's with us for this international conference on new education policy, the opportunity to integrate values in curriculum designing, jointly organized by Globeethics.net Geneva, Switzerland, and Human Values Cell of St. Francis College for Women, Hyderabad. It's my joy to welcome Professor R. Limbadri, Chairman, Telangana State Council of Higher Education, as our keynote speaker to set the tone for this conference. Sir has been very busy. He has just completed a program half an hour ago, and he is here with us now. Thanks a lot, dear sir, for giving your time for us and for all the support and help that we receive from you. We are very happy to have you with us, sir. All at Francis, join me in welcoming the Globeethics.net team represented by Ms. Rajula, and we have our speakers, Dr. Joseph Donston and Ms. Christine Housel, who will be addressing us. And all of you who have joined on this online platform, a very hearty welcome to you. Value education has been our concern right from the inception of our college in 1959, for we are convinced that value education is a fundamental ingredient to enhance the quality of human behavior. We have been trying various means and methods, having interactions of our students with value-oriented persons to inculcate values in our students, which we know will transform them into good human beings. There has been a growing concern over the gradual erosion of values, and need is felt more than ever today to build our families and societies on good values. It's with this objective that we have ventured into conducting this conference. New education policy lays emphasis on value education and is an integral part of the curriculum, helping students to face the evils which have been a threat to the integrity of our nation. It's our wish and earnest prayer that this conference be a small but effective effort in promoting the value quotient of our society through the students whom we educate in our institutions. May God bless this noble intention of ours and make our land, India, as a hub of life, lived happily as a family, loving and caring one another. God bless us all.
Kindly take yourself off unmute.
Thank you, Sister, for setting the right tone for the webinar with your kind words of wisdom. Over to Deepa, ma'am. May I now invite Ms. Deepa James, Head Department of Commerce, St. Francis College for Women, to acquaint us with the genesis of the conference.
Good afternoon to all our distinguished panelists and participants. On behalf of the management, staff, and students of St. Francis College, Hyderabad, I once again reiterate a warm welcome to everyone present here. St. Francis College, started in the year 1959 by the Sisters of Charity, has always drawn inspiration from our foundress, Saint Bartholomew Capitano, who in turn was inspired by the teachings of Jesus Christ, the norm, protector, and guide of our institution. The Sisters of Charity, and by extension St. Francis College for Women, are thus involved in a very special way in instilling in our students the sound values of justice, truth, dignity of human life, and a concern for others. An important aspect of our mission is to prepare our students to be morally upright and socially committed citizens of the world. Carrying forward this mission, we are happy to partner with globeethics.net in organizing this very important virtual conference that we hope will help us understand how to incorporate ethical values in curriculum design and identify the best approach to teaching ethics in higher education institutions. This conference intends to reach out to academicians and research scholars to deliberate upon the role of academia as catalysts and change makers in a dynamic and ever-changing world. We look forward to enlightening sessions by all our eminent panelists as we challenge ourselves towards this goal. Thank you, and I wish every one of us attending a fruitful and productive afternoon.
Thank you, Deepa, Madam. Now over to Ms. Christine Hauser.
Hello, everybody. It's wonderful to be with you today, and I was so inspired by the video of the college that we're partnering with today. What wonderful work you do, what a wonderful legacy you have. It is my pleasure to introduce the keynote speaker for the day. We have Professor Dr. Limbadri with us. Professor R. Limbadri, who is currently working as Professor of Public Administration at Osmania University, is also Chairman for Telangana State Council of Higher Education in Hyderabad. He has long experience of working in the university at different levels, and so he's well positioned to speak to our topic today. His administrative experiences includes too many to name. Among them, he was Vice Chairman of Telangana State Council of Higher Education in Hyderabad, Vice Chancellor of Osmania University, Hyderabad, Registrar twice for Telangana University, Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences in Telangana University, Nizamabad, Chairman of the BOS, Department of Public Administration at Telangana University, Joint Director of the Academic Audit Cell in Osmania University, and on and on. His areas of interest include rural governance, institutional growth and development, and he has received Annual Case Study Award in 2012 from the Indian Institute of Public Administration in New Delhi. Let us all warmly welcome our keynote speaker today with a virtual round of applause. And we welcome you, sir, the floor is yours. Do we have our speaker? Yes. Okay.
Dr. Limbadri. Dr. Limbadri. Ma'am, one of you, will you be able to check?
I'm doing it.
We've all gotten used to these online platforms, but still we have our technical issues sometimes. So we just wait for a moment.
Dr. Limbadri? Ma'am, can we go to the next presentation? Meanwhile, someone can stay in touch with him.
Ma'am, he's ready to join.
Okay.
Just 1 minute he needs.
We have 738 participants right now online attending the event, and we could see participants from Ghana and also from Madagascar. Also, we have participants representing all the 28 states of the country, India. We warmly welcome each and every one of you, dear participants, and kindly introduce yourself using the chat box. You can post your questions in the Q&A. Okay, can I introduce the next speaker? Ms. Christine. Dr. Limbadri. Okay, I'm introducing Ms. Christine Housel, and meanwhile the organizers, please stay in touch with him. Ms. Christine?
Okay, sure.
Yeah, we are, I think there is some technical issues, and we apologize, dear participants, and we are moving to the next presenter of the day, Ms. Christine Housel. She is connected from Geneva, Switzerland, and it's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Christine Housel. She is currently the lead for strategic partnership and donor relation of Globeethics.net, Geneva, Switzerland. Ms. Housel is an experienced educator and executive and is very much passionate about building partnerships and creating more loving ethical communities. Ms. Housel's expertise lies in strategic partner relationship in education and NGO management. She is very much committed to discovering the richness that intercultural, intergenerational, ecumenical, and interfaith relationships bring. She is a strong supporter of Globeethics.net from its inception and joined the team in October 2019 to lead the work in donor relation and strategic partnership. And I now call upon Ms. Christine Housel to put across her views on ethical foundations of global partnership. I also request Mr. Housel to speak about Globeethics.net Geneva, the online academy, e-library, and the different courses offered for professors and research scholars. Over to you, Ms. Christine.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me well, everybody?
Yes, Christine.
Okay. All right, so we've had a little change in program, and on the one hand, it's always nice to get launched with our exciting keynote, which really gets us into our focus topic. But on the other hand, we'll look at it like we're just building into it. And we've heard from one of the partners, and we've seen their wonderful video, and we've heard from some of their leaders, and we see that they really have built their higher education institution on the basis of ethics and values. And so now I'm going to spend the most of my time in my presentation introducing you to Globeethics.net, and our whole mission and our whole purpose is to support ethics in higher education. I also will talk a little bit about the nature of partnership as we do our work together. And we note that this very event, it has been done in partnership. And we note that actually we heard something about the genesis of the event itself. And it took, the partners meeting each other, finding a sense of common value, and then deciding to actually do a project together where we felt that the project would be strengthened by working together. And so this is actually what we're going to explore just a little bit. So I want to tell you about Globeethics.net. We are a network of teachers and institutions on ethics in higher education. I think we all have an understanding of the importance of ethics, and ethics, it can help sometimes when we're thinking about this concept of working as ethical people. It can seem abstract, but our whole mission in our work is to understand that this is a daily part of our life and our study. The image of a compass can sometimes help us to understand that ethics is a very practical way of orienting ourselves in our daily life and in our study. So our theme today is how do we use values and ethics as we look at curriculum design, which is at the very heart of the educational enterprise. Ethics at the heart of higher education, we know, we all are committed to this. It builds in our students and in our whole community personal integrity, responsible leadership, and values. And as we heard in our video, this means we send people out into all the disciplines and also into their families and into community leadership, that we send people out who are committed to the common good and committed to providing values-based leadership in their various domains. This is our executive director, Obiara Ike. So I want to speak a little bit about partnership and then mostly orient you to our resources. Partnership, if you've looked at the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, these are 17 goals that have been agreed on by many of our countries, and they've been articulated to look at the long-term future of the people on this planet and the planet itself. And they cover a wide spectrum of issues, from water and food to education to resources to leadership to gender justice. And in all of these, partnership is actually articulated as goal number 17. And so it's a means to achieve the goals. The international community has recognized that partnership is needed to achieve the goals, public-private partnership and partnership between different actors, so that we don't duplicate efforts and we can bring together expertise and be innovative in the process. But I always find it interesting that partnership has been articulated as a goal itself. And somehow as we look at curriculum design, we're looking at what is it that students are receiving through the course of their education. Is it simply the kind of skill and expertise in their discipline, or is it the the ability to think critically and to consider the value at the base of what they're doing. And I would propose that even in the process of education, study, research, teaching itself, partnership is something we can begin to teach as well, because it's really the same skills are needed at every level. And when we begin to kind of model the value of partnership and how we can sometimes achieve different things that are needed in the discipline we're studying, in our community, etc. So partnership in research, partnership in projects, partnership in study, and working for the benefit of one another. And so there are times to focus on somebody who has focused on something individually, or bring someone with a certain expertise. But in our competitive world, we sometimes think that partnership isn't really possible, or it's not worth the time and effort that it takes to make it successful. But Globeethics.net works on the idea that we can achieve so much more when we come together, bring together our different knowledge, bring together our different perspectives, our different expertises, and we can serve one another, or find solutions, or create something that we never would have thought of, like this event, by coming together. And so we enter into partnerships where the others, we feel the others have the same approach, and we're working for win-win situations. Globeethics.net uses these concepts to talk about what ethics can mean in our lives. And for all of you educators out there, this acronym is an interesting one to explore, and it could even be a teaching tool. We do look at competence, the C. Competence and skills are essential. We must be good at what we do. We also want to continue to innovate, and we know this is a requirement in today's world. But there's just more to it. There's more to education. And so we work for the empowerment of people, for transformation of people and communities, where we're, yes, considering our needs and our families' needs, but also the needs of others and the community and the world. We in education know that there's a move to work less in silos and to work in interrelated ways. And so we see that ethics implies an understanding of in-depth correlations. Ethics is all about integrity at the heart, and it's all to the end of sustainability. So this is a snapshot of the resources Globeethics.net has to offer. We have developed in partnership over the last 15 plus years, an online open access library, a publishing platform, an online academy, and we consider the network itself a kind of resource that we can all use to create knowledge, to create events, and to build up the vision. And so I want to just go into these in a little more detail and try to do so letting you know how you can connect in as individuals and also as institutions. And so I invite you to think also on behalf of the institution you represent and see if you see points of connection that you might even recommend to your institution. And Rajula and I are here to build up that conversation and to speak with you in more depth if you have interest as an individual, or if you see points of connection for the institutions you represent. So we have built up an online open access library with the idea that we want to share knowledge and make it available widely. And so this was our first project, and it's an ongoing project. Anybody can go to our website and go to the repository, which is located in it, which is the library, and read most of the items in it. There are some collections which require registration, and we will put that link for you, and we also encourage you to register in our network as an individual, which will give you our newsletter, and it will give you full access to the library. There are some collections that require it. We have curated content where we work with partners to put special collections into the library or build them up based on different topics. And we also harvest documents which relate to the topics of interest. And the focus of the library is ethics. We also have philosophy and religion and theology. And a lot of topics are touched through ethics. So we have environmental ethics and things about leadership and things about business and so on. So this is just one example that relates to all of us because it's about ethics in education. And so this is one kind of focus area for us, both in our library, in our publications, and in our courses. We also have different subjects on applied ethics, as I mentioned. So we wanted to then be in a position to publish the work of our partners in our network, and also publish the results of projects we do or conferences we hold or research projects we undertake. And so we have, our number is now up. We need to update this number. We're really doing regular publishing. And you see we're in several languages. Most of them are English, then French, then Chinese, then Spanish, and Indonesian. But we are open to publishing in every language. We seek to make it accessible, and we take pleasure in publishing the work of new scholars as well as the work of seasoned scholars. And so just back to publishing for a moment, we know that publishing can be, especially on international, to have international exposure, can sometimes be expensive. And we do have a fee for publishing, but we seek to make it accessible, and we're always there to work and make it possible. Then we also initiate projects or sometimes enter into joint projects where we absorb the costs. So if you're interested in publishing with us, we're there to speak to you. And sometimes we'll approach you about publishing. We'll enter into joint projects together. And another item of note is that we are launching a journal very soon. And this is something where we will have a regular call for submissions. And so this is another publication that we're going to launch and initiate. So again, we initiate and we also receive requests. We're proud of our online academy. Over the past couple of years, we've really built it up a lot. And a lot of the course areas are building on some of the scholarship we did through publishing, some of the conferencing we did on different key ethical areas of interest today. The courses are ethics in higher education for teaching professionals, and then another one, ethics in higher education for administrative professionals. And this is actually, geared specifically for professionals in the higher education sphere to equip us, with the sensitization and skills to then bring out, to embed ethics in all that we do in our higher education setting, which directly relates to our theme today. So in these courses, curriculum is something that's touched. What's also true in these courses is that it's expansive, so it covers all the different areas. of our professional life as a teacher or an administrator in a higher education institution. And then we have some specialized topics like corporate social responsibility and sustainable development, cyber ethics, responsible leadership, and interreligious cooperation for peace. We also have a course which relates very much to today's topic, and it's an example of how really our courses are built in partnership. One of our partners is an institution in Colombia. At that institution, they have an ethics center. And at that ethics center, over the past 8 years, they've built up a short course, which is kind of practical, and it's for teachers, and it helps them to actually embed ethics in their curriculum. And so this is exactly what we're talking about today. And our Regula's counterpart in Latin America worked with this partner to disseminate this course widely, more widely in Latin America, and it was very well received. And then we thought this is so connected to the core mission of Globeethics.net. Let's put it on our platform. And so the partner was interested, and we have now signed an agreement to do so. And starting in April, I believe, this course will be offered on the Globeethics.net Academy platform. And so this is a real concrete example about how we're continuously growing, and we're really trying to be innovative and to see where the strengths of our partners in the network are, and see how we can bring value to one another for the common goal that we have. And so this course is in Spanish as well. So we're committed to working in more languages, and we're taking steps one by one to do so. We hope that eventually this course would be translated to English, and therefore accessible to you, to more of us. These are the courses that are coming up in a couple of weeks, actually. So in mid-March and in mid-April, we have some of our courses starting, and they're 8-week courses or 10-week courses. And what's really special about them is that they are taught by and taken by participants from around the world. And so you have excellent online content, and you also have a weekly Zoom meeting with the professor and the other students to kind of engage and process what you're learning and to learn from each other. And consistently, the students and the teachers and facilitators of the course testify that this is a transformative part of the course. The courses are also really geared toward application. So if you're interested in taking a course, you can register as an individual. If your institution would like to send a small group of people, either administrators, teachers, or students, especially maybe graduate students or research scholars, we're able to negotiate a lower rate to make it more feasible for more people. We just had a nice information session on our courses, and that's available by, we can share the link with you if you'd like to hear more and meet our academic dean and some of the teachers that are going to be speaking. And we also mentioned that through the Academy and through our network, we have a lot of continuing education opportunities, such as this conference, which we've jointly organized, such as other online events and conferences. We're planning one that's coming up even this spring. It's a series of 3 conferences with also 3 corresponding publications. And so there will be a chance to publish, a chance to speak, and a chance to attend for various people in our network. And the information about that will be circulating, in some weeks. We also have Blue Table webinars, which are 1 to 1.5 hour events once a month, organized by our Academy. And this year, the focus and the topic is, what does it mean to be human? And so we have one in March, mid-March on remembering, mid-April on thinking, mid-May on working. So it's just to say there are lots of opportunities to keep thinking about how to live ethically, teach ethically, study ethically, research ethically. We have some kind of trainings and capacity building events and tools for whole university settings. And I'll just mention that here. And if you're interested in that idea, kind of generating a buzz and generating some competencies so that people in your university community can carry on and deepen the work in your university. We also have some ways of accompanying you in that and kind of empowering and bringing some skills to some key leaders. So again, there's so much potential in and through the network that we have and that we're constantly deepening and growing. And so we're so pleased to be in this moment with St. Joseph's and thinking about how we can really bring value to one another and deepen the partnership. And I mentioned that we have people representing Globeethics around the world, and we are also growing in that, in actually gathering in people who want to represent us and work locally in their context to work with institutions and individuals toward this common mission. We have a diverse and international board, and we always seek to bring different perspectives into the work we're doing. We seek to be a place of genuine sharing through the similar commitments and vision we have, and then through the diversity and difference we have, so that we can learn from one another, and where it's needed, get into some of the tough topics. And by the way, I've seen that there are tough topics coming up in the in the questions and in the chat, and I think it's really appropriate. And so I would say I'm not exactly going to answer this question, but I think it's appropriate to mention the question, because we're all concerned about the war that is going on between Russia and Ukraine right now. So I think we would actually be ethically amiss if we didn't take a moment to soberly note this, together, and to note, that ethics, there are many ethical issues arising from and that have led to this course of events. And it is not our topic of the day, so I think it's unadvisable to get into this question too deeply. But there is a question, what is the role of our organization, essentially, or our network, in engaging leaders, even political leaders? And I think that this questioner is talking about, do you have the guts to do so, the courage to do so? I think it's a good question, because in fact, when the rubber meets the road, when we engage some of the tough issues, also in our university environments, when we note practices that are really doing the opposite of forming people according to values, it's tough, and it's tough to stand up to these things. And so we as Globeethics, on the one hand, our primary focus is higher education leadership, but there's also room in our work to work with professionals in different sectors. That includes government. And in fact, we've had a request recently to develop a short course for parliamentarians in one country. And we're actively considering that request, and we're leaning toward it. So there's been a similar kind of request, that it would be valuable and needed, to develop some tools for people going into leadership, into political leadership. So we are open. And I'm seeing some other questions about Okay, I'm going to read this one. In India, we have many convent and missionary schools which are run by dedicated persons. They train the students so well, but once they're grown up, they throw away all the values and fight against the same dedicated people. It has become very common in India. Once they see money and power, they forget about ethical values. How do you look at it? And I think that, you know, the convent and missionary schools, which have been doing this dedicated work for so long, are ahead of many of us, because in fact, they've known for a long time that values need to be at the heart of things. And so we can first appreciate and applaud this work. And also I think that it's deeper in people than the evidence sometimes shows. Maybe they get distracted and tempted for a moment, but I think that this formation is deep within people. At the same time, this question, the challenges of money and power are prevalent today, as we see, and this is why the issues we're trying to address through Globeethics.net are really real and urgent. And this is why we come together to think about how to go to another level in the work. And I think our topic today is precisely one of those areas. So in fact, perhaps there's been perhaps there's more work needed, or we haven't done enough work to actually make connections to the values we're talking about and the disciplines we're training people in, and to actually put into the curriculum as a serious matter what are the real ethical dilemmas that people will face? What are the values that we want to pursue, and why? What do we do when we're faced with the pressures that are going to be there? And so I think what we're trying to do when we talk about embedding ethics in higher education is, yes, make sure that we have the policies that we need, and we have the practices we need, and we work against, you know, cheating, and we work against harassment and favoritism, and we have good procurement practices, etc. But then we want to go into the actual topics of study and the ways we study, both the communities of study we develop with one another, and the values that are, and the skills, and the ethical dilemmas, which are not always simple. We need to start to, you know, go deeper into these things. Yes. So I really appreciate these questions. I see a few more, but I think I'm running out of time, Regula.
Yes, Christine.
This is our website, and with this link you can register as an individual. And again, by registering, you'll receive our newsletter, where you'll see more news of what's happening, new books that are being published, calls for papers, for conferences that we're organizing or maybe organized by you, you know, because we put things up there from our partners, etc., etc. And you have full access to the library. So we encourage you and invite you to register. If you're interested in talking to us about partnership as a kind of expert in your field, or as an institution, we are here to discuss with you. This is my email, and this is Regula's email. I appreciate the questions, and we can create more opportunities as we go to keep dialoguing about them. But actually we have much more to hear and to dialogue about in the course of today's conference as we move into our keynote speech.
Yeah, thank you, Christine. Yeah, I take this opportunity to thank you, and very clearly you have explained about the Globeethics Net different resources that is created in partnership with the different universities, colleges, and also individuals. And we can see nearly 780 participants representing many universities and higher education institutions across India and also from outside the country. And you introducing the different resources to this particular community, it is very much relevant, and every time you take so much care for introducing all the resources so that it is utilized, and also the intention of creating the resources is also expressed very clearly in your presentation. And thank you very much for being with us today. And also thank you, special thanks to you for addressing the questions that already came in the chat box. There are some more questions, and probably we can look at it and then you could answer them individually. And I also request you to introduce the keynote speaker, Dr. R. Limbadri, who is present amidst us, and kindly introduce him and welcome him. Thank you. Take yourself off mute.
I think that we have been introduced to you, sir, just before you came in and before I spoke. I gave an in-depth introduction to you, and so I want to remind the participants that we have a really senior and experienced person in our midst to deliver the keynote, Professor Dr. Limbadri. And again, he is currently working as Professor of Public Administration at Osmania University, and he is chairman for Telangana State Council of Higher Education in Hyderabad. And we heard before that he's held several different positions at these and other institutions, and thus is just eminently qualified to speak from experience about our topic today. And we heard also, it's always interesting to hear about the interests of our speakers. His interests are in rural governance and institutional growth and development. And we could say, embedding values and ethics in curriculum development is part of institutional growth. So we really are very happy to engage with you today, and we give you a virtual round of applause as we welcome you to the floor. The floor is yours. We're not hearing you too well. That seems better. We're not yet hearing you. So they're working on the sound.
You're audible, but too low, sir.
From everyone.
Yes.
There we go. There we go. It looked like when you were holding the microphone closely, it seemed to work.
Everyone.
Good afternoon. Sir, you're audible now.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you. The principal, St. Francis College for Women, Dr. Sandra Artha, and partner organization of Human Value Cell and Globeethics, Net India, faculty from the St. Francis College, participants from the different universities, speakers of this program, and all the dignitaries. At the outset, I congratulate the St. Francis College for Women principal and her team taking initiative in conducting the program on the opportunity to integrate the values in curriculum designing. It is one of the important one and need of the hour also. First, I apologize for my delay in participating in the meeting, and I also say that I may not deliver the keynote address, but I can share my ideas, observations, experience on this topic. I thank the organizers for inviting me to participate in this important program. The opportunity to integrate values in curriculum designing. So earlier speakers delivered about the world views and the value system are concerned. This topic is very much relevant in the contemporary situation, not only in the country, entire the world. The values are essential in integrating with the curriculum. So value-based education is likely to help the nation fight against all kinds of prevailing fantasism, ill will, violence, dishonesty, corruption, exploitation, and drug abuse. Another important aspect I want to mention here is why it is most relevant in the contemporary world is most of the debate, discourse, particularly in the framing of the curriculum is concerned, it is on the basis of the IT, in the basis of the utilities of skills, promotion of careerism, economic good, and other IT related aspects. The most of the focus is on the IT and the career building. We cannot deny it is very essential to build the career, but what lacking in this present scenario is the values in the education system. So in the context of the national education policy, how we connecting the values in the educational policy is concerned. In the evaluation of the educational policy in the country, from University Education Commission 1948 to 49 and Secondary Education Commission 1952 to 53, Education Commission of 64 to 66 under Dr. D.S. Kothari, and National Education Policy of 1968, and 42nd Constitutional Amendment in 1966. Education is in a concurrent list. Earlier, it was in the state list. The National Education Policy, one of the well-known education policy in the country is 1986, that is NPE. After that, we may have some modifications in 92, but the present national education policy, first it was developed by TSR Subramaniam Committee report in 16. Subsequently, that national education policy is headed by a great scientist, Dr. K. Rangarajan. The government of India also, time and again, giving a lot of focus for implementation of the national education policies. This is one of the best education policy in the country, which can meet the demands of the aspirants, meet the demands of the aspirations of the people to become great citizens, become employable by studying their different aspects are concerned. Here, the education policy have given the flexibility as a principle that we have seen the multidisciplinary, multiple exits, multiple entries, etc., etc. Now we are focusing on the values integrating in the curriculum. So the values are concerned, the basic principles of this education policy, we have seen that the accessibility, affordability, the quality, excellence have become a pillars in education policies concerned. So the accessibility or affordability, excellence are the equity and quality. The equity and quality is one of the core area where we can connect the values into the curriculum circumstance. The equity, the curriculum, how best we can connect. The quality and the curriculum, how best we can make it. It's a big challenge for developing a curriculum into the major institutions are concerned. We are all aware that education is the process by bringing out and blossoming the talent, potential in human beings. So when we have this much of things, the value-based education, what should be the values in the education system? If you talk about the equity, if you talk about the quality, if you talk about the accessibility, how the curriculum connects it. To me, I can say that we have the values in the human society which have been practicing centuries. We have the value system from Buddhism to this contemporary, and every region have their own values, that all values is about the fraternity. How the Indian Constitution also adopted the values, that values to be the equality, fraternity, liberty. These are the core values of the Indian Constitution, which we supposed to inculcate among the students are concerned. If you make them to understand, to live together and understand each other and make them happy and live with the fraternity is one of the important thing. So in the curriculum, it is required. We have been introducing the curriculum as a part of our course. We are introducing some courses on values, heritage and culture. But how much time we are spending on that, and what is the methodology we are adopting to make the students to understand more effectively and make them to practice this value system in their day-to-day life. That is a big challenge. We are all aware that every student in our childhood life, we have the pledge, India is my country, all Indians are my brothers and sisters. How best we practicing in our day-to-day life, how best it is inculcated in the society. So much of the things are available in the textbooks, in the constitution, in the rules and regulations. Only thing is we are unable to practice in our real lifetime, in our day-to-day life. What type of culture, what type of ethics, what type of values we have been practicing is one of the biggest challenge. There is a gap between what academics speaks, what we practice. There is a huge gap what Constitution says and what we do. So this is a high time to understand the real spirit of our value system is concerned. And it is a right time when we are revising our Indian education policy, particularly in the context of national education policy, how best we can inculcate the value system into the curriculum. I have seen the education system itself have isolation. John Dewey, one of the famous educationalists, America, who is the teacher, guide, philosopher of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, the democratization of higher education. The democratization of education is a philosophy for us. So that type of values to access to the everybody and making them to get equal opportunity to build their career by learning to their education systems are concerned. So keeping these aspects into my mind, I want to mention that in the context of this globalization, in the context of this IT, artificial intelligence, machine learning, whatever the things we have, it is the right time how best we can include the values into the curriculum. Definitely, we have to include the values and integrate the human values into the higher education curriculum. Then only we can make a cultivation of human values among the students, and through them we can send into the education is concerned. So our national education policy, human values, have the universal values specifically mentioned that truth, peace, non-violence, love, righteous conduct are the basis for the values in the higher education systems are concerned. And most of the things, whatever we have been doing, that can be bringing into the academics and we make them to practice. The last point I want to mention is the practice influences a lot on student community. Whatever we teach in the classroom, whatever the content we include in the curriculum, how best the teachers are practicing, how best the institution practicing, that will have a lot of impact on student communities are concerned. So I would like to mention that the curriculum integrating the values is one part, and practicing the same values into the institutions will have a lot of impact on student life. So the inclusion of curriculum values and the practice will make them to understand more and more, and we can achieve the expected goals of education by imparting the values in their life. So with these few words, I thank the principal, Sister Dr. Sandra Atra, and all the organizers who have given me an opportunity to share my ideas with all of you. And I thank each and everyone for their patient listening. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Limbadri. And we appreciate that you've kicked off our discussion so well with your affirmation that an important part of implementing the national education policy will be to really look at curriculum development. And we also appreciate that you've emphasized that the way we live it will be equally as important. And so that's a really key point. And you know, we had a question earlier that we couldn't address, but somebody says, can you mention approaches or techniques for the inculcation of values among learners as teachers? And well, there's much we can explore, right? There's a lot, we've had whole webinars on this very topic, but you know, what everyone always comes back to is that every teacher, the way they live these values, you know, is really at the heart of it. Then we develop skills and we work at putting it into our practice, and as today's topic, into our curriculum development. So now we're going to kind of move on and explore the topic in more depth. How can we actually apply this in our work? We thank you very much for casting this vision and showing us the opportunity that the new national education policy holds for us. Let's give Dr. Limbadri a virtual round of applause with our appreciation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, let me just, I'm moving toward introducing our next speaker. And as I get ready for that, let me please give you a few reminders. We appreciate that you're interacting on the chat, and we invite you to continue this. You've introduced yourself, and we would also like you to, you know, react and respond and share your own ideas, your own experiences, you know, and your own expertise, also your own questions for our speakers. So we've tried to engage some of the questions. We are limited by time. I would invite you, if you have questions, it can be easier for the moderators if you put them into the Q&A, and also for the speakers, because sometimes we can't address them all on the floor, but the speakers can address them, you know, via typing, and all of the speakers are invited to do so. Even if it's not exactly addressed to you in that moment, you're really invited to respond, and also in the chat. And so as we prepare for the remainder of our conference, I also invite the speakers who are coming up to look at the dialogue and think about if and how they might like to engage some of the questions, which are, you know, very interesting ones in the chat. Also, the feedback link, just to note, will be shared, not at the very end, but a little closer to the end of the event itself. All right, so now let me see. Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce the first speaker of today's program, Dr. G.M. Joseph Dunstan, who I have had the pleasure of meeting and sharing the same floor with in the past. He is an expert in training faculty and also students, and many of the people he has worked with have gone on to be recognized for their own work. He himself was honored with one distinction not too long ago as Best Speaker Award of the Kanyakumari district in 2019. And he's also inducted to the Global Teacher Hall of Fame, receiving this award and also a Best Administrator Award, and also Lifetime Achievement Golden Peacock Award in 2020. And I mention these, because we see there's a variety of expertise here. It's in teaching, it's in speaking, it's in administering as well. And so these things are all specializations, but they can interlink, and in him they have. And I think you're really going to find that he's going to inspire you as a speaker. He was Vice Chancellor of St. Joseph University in Nagaland and holds a post as Director for Development and Professor of English at the Research Center in St. Jerome's College of Arts and Science in Nagercoil, affiliated to MS University. He's worked for 40 years in administration and academia, as we've seen from different perspectives, and has a passion for this work, which you will feel. And he continues with his passion to work as an advisor and a counselor in educational settings to teachers and students and administrators alike in engineering and arts and sciences colleges. So it is a real honor and privilege for us to have Professor Dr. G.M. Joseph Dunstan as a resource person, a teacher, a speaker, to bring value to us today and deliver a talk on the NEP 2020, a study of integration of values and ethics in higher education. The floor is yours, Dr. Joseph Dunstan. We welcome you.
Thank you very much, Kristen, for your good words. I was really pinching my hand whether I am, because you were talking too much about me. Fine. Am I audible to everyone?
You are. You're very clear.
Yeah, thank you. I am extremely happy to be a part of this international webinar, the opportunity to integrate values in curriculum, organized by St. Francis College for Women and the Human Values Cell, along with the Globeethics Net from Geneva and from Bangalore, organized by Ms. Rajula. So Reverend Sister Dr. Sandra, the principal, Christine, Ms. Rajula, organizers of this human value, seminar, and beloved participants from all over the globe. Now, I will be talking to you on integration of values from NEP and ethics in higher education. Integration of values and ethics in higher education from NEP 2020. So my design will be like this. What does NEP talk about values and ethics in that policy? And why do we need the integration of ethics and values in higher education institutions? And today, what is the need for that? That's maybe in two batches, two sections. I'll finish my talk. I think I've been given only 30 minutes. One of the very famous universities in India, a student joined for his postgraduate studies in economics. A brilliant student he is. He became very friendly with one of the professors, and the professors also responded to his approach, and then they were very friendly. They were talking lots of things about subjects and in general everything. One day, he went to the faculty room and the professor was coming out, and then he said, "Professor, I want to talk to you for 2 minutes." But he said, "No, I'm busy. I'll just go back and I have a lot of work to do. We'll meet later. We'll meet later." The professor went inside and he was talking to his friends inside the
staff room, and they were even exchanging laugh and all that. And after that, he came out, depressed this fellow outside the staff room, and once again he went, "Sir, I want to talk to you for 2 minutes." He said, "My child, not now. I'm busy. I'm leaving." He went to the car, and he came running after him. And he started the car. He said, "My child, we'll meet later," and then he left. And the next day, he went to the staff room to find out whether he was available. He was not there. He was very much depressed. And he could not see the professor for the next 4 days. And the 5th day, he could see that professor, and the professor went to the class, and he just called his name and said, "Why are you looking so dull? Could you sleep well? Couldn't you sleep well?" Because his eyes were not, bulging and all that. He said, "I'm sorry, sir. I couldn't sleep. That day when I met you, I wanted to talk to you for 2 minutes. You ignored me. That was the biggest hurt I heard. You were very friendly. You were a mentor to me. And, you were giving me a lot of counseling and all that. But that day I was terribly hurt." And the professor took him to the staff room and, made him sit there and started talking. Okay. What happened immediately after that? He said, "I went to the mess. I could not even go to the mess. I went to my room and I could not sleep and all that. And, for the past 4 days, I am not myself. I am not able to understand why you behave like that. It was a big hurt. It's a hurt." You know what the professor said very coolly? "Come on, you write down what was your experience for the past 4 days and bring it to me." The boy went back, the student went back, wrote everything and came to him. He collected that article and then asked him to sit down, we'll discuss. "My dear loving student, you do not know what had happened to me that day. When I was in my class, I was affected with a terrific headache. To ease my headache, I came to the staff room and then I was exchanging some pleasantries with the staff members, and I was exchanging some laughter, and of course it eased me, and then I went back home. I was affected with a viral fever for the 4 days, and I came here. And you say now, suppose you had not come today and tomorrow, I would have committed suicide. Suppose, you see, had I been affected with typhoid, and if I had not come to the college for the university for 10 days, will you hang yourself? My dear loving student, you are suffering from hypersensitivity. Hypersensitivity. You do not know what's happening to others. You don't even seem to understand. You should have the clarity of thought. Why the professor behaved like this? There must be some urgent call or something of that sort. You must have thought of that. You must have the clarity of thought what had happened to that. And you should be able to understand what others are doing. You should have a clarity of thought. I don't know why you could not understand that. My dear loving student, come out of that. I know you have a mad love and affection for me, but that should not lead you to commit suicide. You should also understand. You should have an enhanced listening, communicative skills to understand what had happened to the professor. Then maybe there is some urgency and all that. So please remember, if at all you want to grow as a better person, you should have the kind of sensitivity and the clarity of thought and the proper values to come up in life. So today, I have a feeling some of our institutions, most of the students are dull and completely demotivated, maybe. It's because we are not able to integrate values and ethics in our curriculum. When I see that, I have been giving lots of talks on NAP, and today Rajula gave me a very good research, and I went inside time and again to find out what does really NAP talk about values and ethics to be integrated in curriculum. And NAP lays stress on this particular aspect, values and ethics. And when I just see the whole thing, throughout the policy, whether it's school education or higher education or the key focus areas or the implementation, they're always talking about the values and ethics. It looks as though in the second part of this policy, higher education, first part is school education, second part is higher education, and the third part is key areas, and the fourth one is implementation. I think Dr. John Methuselah will be talking about the implementation. And especially in the second part, higher education, they are laying stress on this particular concept, values and ethics. But if you just go into that, you see, what do we need, or why do we need values? Values, of course, are the individual beliefs that motivate the students and the other person to take up the way in one way or another. And what is ethics? Of course, I don't want to go in the detailed way, what is ethics and all that, but we all know, because it is Globeethics, and you're also doing under that human values. Definitely, St. Francis College would have done enough justice to the human values cell. And what is ethics? It's the moral principle that govern our behaviors. And if you just take up the first page of the national policy, of course, it has been culled from the 467 pages to 66 pages, and the first line of the policy says, education is fundamental for achieving full human potential, developing an equitable society and just society. The very first line talks about an equitable and just society. And in the second paragraph, they say, of course, Christine was talking about the 17 SDGs. The fourth, SDG 4, is education to all, and 2015, Government of India accepted that. And throughout, they talk about the sustainability of educational goals to ensure inclusive, equitable, quality education that promote lifelong learning. That means the values and ethics will go along with you till you hit, right? That's a way that higher education institutions should start with. That's the way that every professor in the colleges, the universities, higher education institutions should have a commitment to innovation. And also we should make the students would have a commitment to innovations and research. Commitment to sustainability and environment. Today, that particular area also needs our attention. And we should make the student a proper ambition, a very good responsibility and courage to face this world. And we should also have the intrinsic values of truth, love, and freedom. All these values and ethics should guide them to represent all the human values of the student community. So the next, in the introductory part, new education policy says, pedagogy must evolve to make education more experiential, holistic, integrated, inquiry-driven, discovery-oriented, learner-centered, discussion-based, flexible, and of course, the course an enjoyable thing. the pedagogy, when you come to the teaching methodology, I think both of us are involved. Both the stakeholders, students and professors, students and faculty, they have to evolve education more experiential. And immediately they say the curriculum must include basic arts, crafts, humanities, games and sports, and fitness, languages, literature, and culture, values, in addition to science and humanities. Now, of course, I mean, I don't want to go very detailed because now that we are going to introduce liberal arts and Bachelor of Liberal Arts, BLA, and Bachelor of Occasional, BVOC, right? Anyway, once you introduce NEP, you'll have to introduce all these things, right? And then they say, all aspects of the capabilities of learners should be taken into account, and they should be made well-rounded, useful, and fruitful learners and fulfilling of the learners. They should be holistic and the well-rounded personalities, knowing everything. Not only a kind of a science, chemistry alone, or physics alone, or literature alone, everything around the world. A holistic personality. So, to explain further, in the introduction, they say, education must build character, enable learners to be ethical, rational, compassionate, caring, while at the same time prepare them for gainful, fulfilling employment. So all this should make them go for an employment to sustain themselves in their lives, right? And once again, it is UNESCO to live, to know, to, I mean, what do you call them, all the four pillars. The same way they have to do it. And, you know, when they come to the purpose of the policy, they say, you know, the purpose of the policy lays stress on the capability of the rational thought and action, possessing compassion and empathy, courage and resilience, scientific temper and creative imagination, with ethical moorings and values. I underline that, with ethical moorings and values. That should be the central point of that. That's what the policy says, that is our central point. That means it aims at producing engaged, productive and contributory citizens of our country, building an equitable, inclusive and plural society, and it's emerged by our constitution. That is, constitution envisions this particular thing, a plural society, unity in diversity. And you know, that has been guaranteed in our constitution. The constitutional values should be disseminated to the student community through our higher educational institutions. So, in further, the introduction says the fundamental principle that will guide both the education system at large, apart from the component of the policy ecosystem. What are those three important policy systems apart from the other things? You know, there are other important things in the policy, but the important component for them, one is ethics. First one, ethics and human values like empathy, respect for others, cleanliness, courtesy, democratic spirit, spirit of service, respect for public properties, scientific temper, liberty, responsibility, pluralism, and equality and justice. Second thing, synergy in curriculum across all disciplines from early childhood to higher education, school education and higher education. Synergy. And we should make all the students get this point of synergy among the faculty also, working together, the team spirit, which will go a long way in building up a very, very healthy community. And the third important component is respect for diversity and respect for local context in all curriculum, pedagogy, and policies of the college. Now today I'm sure St. Francis College for Women, an autonomous institution, over the years, they should have definitely heard the institutional planning policy and they would have incorporated all these things. I could see in the video, they have done, I think, the placement and then other things, the debates and all that. When I come to the club activities, I'll talk about those things and all that. And I just move on to the vision of the policy. What is the vision of the policy? It is India-centric. The vision of the policy is India-centric, to create a vibrant knowledge society and make India a knowledge, what do you call a global knowledge society or a global knowledge superpower. NEP 2020 envisions that education to all, and the same way that knowledge should be built up in such a way, India should transform itself to a very great superpower. It should be called knowledge, global knowledge superpower. That the policy envisages that the curriculum and pedagogy of our institutions must develop among the students a deep sense of respect towards the fundamental duties and constitutional values, bonding with one another, the respect for our country, right? And a conscious awareness of one's roles and responsibilities in a changing world. How are we really patriotic to our country? And how are we really contributing the transformation? Today, all of us, the student community, the faculty, and all the other stakeholders, they experience the transformation which are happening in all our higher education institutions. Are we ready to face that transformation and then give the proper inputs to the student community to go swim along with the transformation, the change which is taking place along? And the next vision, they say, the policy, to instill among the learners a deep-rooted pride of being Indian, not only in thought, but also in spirit, intellect, and deeds. It should definitely have a responsible commitment of human rights and a sustainable development in making a global well-being, thereby reflecting a global citizen. So that's the three components. Now I move on to the higher education. Once again, when you go to the area, the second part of national education policy, which talks about higher education plays an extremely important role in promoting human as well as societal well-being, and in turn in developing India. And they say we must have a just, democratic, just, a socially concerned, cultural and humane nation, upholding equality, fraternity, and justice for all. Higher education should contribute towards the sustainable livelihoods and economic development of the nation. The very second paragraph, they say, given the requirement of the 21st century, quality higher education should aim at developing good, thoughtful, well-rounded characters and creative intellect. I mean, in the NAAC ranking and the NAAC accreditation, St. Francis College for Women have gone up, maybe because they must have thought of all those things. The quality higher education, they have thought out and they planned and executed beautifully. It must enable an individual to study one or more specialized areas of interest at a deep level, and also develop character and ethical and constitutional values and intellectual things. So a quality higher education should do that. For the purpose of developing holistic individuals, the higher education institute should identify the set of skills and values which should be incorporated in each stage of learning. And everywhere you have to do it. Because since I am also a part of the governing body of one of our autonomous colleges, since we have the freedom to design, lots of things are being done to make the students engaged, make the faculty engaged. You should make the faculty engaged. And new education policy beautifully says, when he talks about the faculty, motivated, energized, and engaged faculty. All the time engaged for the welfare of the student, welfare of the institution. That's what you mean by the human values and ethics. You are completely committed to the development of your institution. At the societal level, higher education institutions should be able to have as a service. We should, instill in the minds of the student, they are meant for the society. Whatever they are going to do service to the society. That means the student should be a vibrant, socially engaged, cooperative communities. So, what are we going to do to incorporate these things in our, I think my Rajula is looking at me, the time is on, and then I am going to, maybe in another 5 minutes, I'll be able to finish it. So towards the attainment of such holistic thing, what are we going to do? That also is being suggested by NAAC. There are two important things. If at all you want the students to be engaged in the community service, how are we going to integrate the human ethics and values in our curriculum? Number one is environmental education. Number two is value-based education. Why should we have environmental education? Because the need of the hour, climate change. It is really something, we want even the students to be very innovative and do some research. Contribute to the climate change, what we are going to do. All right? Of course, I can talk about those things really great, but my time doesn't allow me that. And then, you can talk about the pollution, waste management, sanitation, conservation of the biological resources today, management of biological resources. If you start talking to them about these things, they will have that sense of responsibility towards the nation. Today, what's happening. Instead of conservation, how many people are really damaging our forests, the beautiful environment we have in our country. And value-based education, it should develop the humanistic, ethical, constitutional human values in the student. And of course, as Dr. Libadri was saying, the truth, satya, righteous conduct, peace, love, and non-violence, all these 5 components should be there. And also, new education policy will introduce global citizenship education, GCED, because we are increasingly becoming connected with the globe. And we are all under the umbrella term global village. And naturally, we should be able to educate our students on the global citizenship. So all these things should be incorporated in your institutional development plan. And why do we need this integration of human values? In another 2 minutes, today, all of you know, starting from the recruitment and till we give the degrees, corruption has entered the portals of higher education. Even for the selection of the faculty members, recruitment, or all those things, bribery that has spoiled the merit of these faculty members because they give illicit payment for the recruitment. And even for the grading, you extract money from the student community. They gave different. Of course, I don't want to give lots of examples. I know lots of examples. Lots of universities are doing that. Lots of higher education institutions. I'm sure St. Francis College for Women definitely should be a very great exception to this particular thing. And with regard to the research, how many of you really do plagiarism and the ghost writing, the order of the day? And I don't know, 2 months back, UGC also was really sad about that. And they were really thinking whether we should make PhD mandatory for appointment, because mostly it is written by the ghostwriter. Where is your ethics? Where is your human value in writing your thesis? And how will you do justice when you are appointed in higher education institution in disseminating the knowledge to the students? Today it has become an accreditation mills. People go after the accredited, the professors who come for the peer team. I'm not bothered, even if they attack me, I'm not bothered. And people, you just buy them and you get that accreditation. That's wrong. And NAAC education policy says no. They have completely changed the methodology of sending peer team members to various colleges. And finally, even they manipulate the placement data. Even in NARF ranking, most of our higher education manipulate the data and get the better rank. What kind of a thing? And you must have seen that how many colleges have been withdrawn, the NAAC accreditation recently and all that. So if we are able to do this with the proper accountability, with the proper governance, with the strategic element of respecting the people and have a proper governance and a wonderful technology use for all your higher education things, with the regulatory bodies, plain accountability and transparency will make your institution come up very well, and that's guaranteed the NEP. Thank you very much for your patient listening.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph Dunstan. We have run out of time for too many questions.
Oh God.
But we do have time for maybe one. I want to note that we have some active participation, and it's appreciated. And we really invite others to put in their questions and comments. And I, again, will address one question due to time to Dr. Dunstan. Yes. But Dr. Dunstan and other speakers, please feel free to respond by typing to the questions in the Q&A. Okay, Dr. Dunstan, there's a couple of questions that are getting at the same thing. One says, okay, the NEP is kind of new. Is it really being implemented? The other says, okay, many of the institutions in India are results oriented. How do we really change that? So it's really about making a change, making a serious change, and using this NEP as maybe one tool among others to do it. Is it really possible? What do you have to say?
Very, very embarrassing question. In fact, when I was giving this talk to one of the universities, leading universities, I said, kindly send that in my mail ID, I'll give an answer for that. But of course, I don't want to involve myself in the controversy surrounding the NEP 2020. Because the professors should know what's happening today. Only 2 states have come forward to implement the, but I have taken the important things. The human values and ethics are the important components of the NEP. Because I also worked along with Dr. Gasturi Rangan in NAAC office for 2 days, the consultation. We were talking about many things, especially rural education, and they have given a focus on that. I think if it is taken rightly, we can really do something to develop our institutions on the track of human values. I'm sorry that I don't want to go into the controversy regarding NEP 2020. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Maybe some of our other speakers will. But I think that, the point is there that, this is a goal for many, and the NEP can be used as one, entry point or one tool among others, So certainly there are many others. Personal.
Maybe I can answer one question. They ask,
yes.
How does NEP help the rural students? University UGC has introduced the blended learning mode, and now they have selected many institutions for online. But you may ask me another question. So rural areas do not have that IT mode at all. Then how will you? But the need of the hour is we have to increase the GER. And the cluster group of institutions will take the students and the equity in admissions or the inclusive admissions will take care of those things. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, well, you've challenged us and you've inspired us, and you've shown us that this needs to be holistic, and you've given us a span of the different ethical issues that are all interrelated that we need to be attentive to and take seriously in our higher education environments. And you've encouraged us back to human values in all of these things, including in curriculum development. So we thank you very much for your words,
Christine,
for your passion. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Christine. Yeah, I would like to respond to this question in my session.
Yeah,
yes,
John Methuselah is going to do, because he's going to talk about the challenges in the implementation. Yes. He will be able to answer that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir, to come to my rescue.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I had a feeling that you were going to, Dr. Methuselah. So participants, be ready. Dr. John Methuselah is going to tackle some of these challenging questions, and Dr. Dunstan tackled different challenging questions. And so it's all a challenge, and you know, and neither of them are shying away from those challenging and difficult issues. But we appreciate that Dr. Dunstan's casting those things in terms of our goal and our vision. So thank you very much. We give you a virtual.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Regula. Thank you, Christine, for giving me a chance to interact with the people. Thank you once again.
And, you know, don't be surprised if Regula calls you back, you know, onto the floor to give a comment.
Sure.
At a different moment, you know, after a different speaker. It can happen, you know, if we have the time, because it's nice to hear speakers interact. So with that, let me turn the floor back to Regula.
Thank you, Christine, and thank you, Dr. Dunstan, and beautiful interaction, brilliant presentation. Thank you very much. We are moving to the next speaker of the day.
Thank you, Regula.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph Dunstan. And it gives me immense pleasure to introduce the next speaker, Mrs. Karuna Rajan Sitar-Dekar, who is currently the Associate Professor at GVM's Dr. Dada Vaidya College of Education, Goa. For the last 19 years, she is into developing proficiency in the area of life skills and has conducted several workshops towards it. She has written many research papers on different academic topics. She is a certified trainer of Junior Chamber International and has conducted several trainings, workshops for members of NGOs, teachers, political party members, and students in academics and soft skills. She's a counselor and a visiting faculty at many renowned institutions in Goa. She has been awarded with ex-NCC State Association with the Excellence Award in the year 2019. She has been awarded with Excellence Award in Education by Prithrakar Sam Nashik, Maharashtra in the year 2020. She has also been recognized and awarded at different forums for her excellent work done at Junior Chamber International, India. She believes in live, just don't exist. She is here to speak on the topic professional ethics and values in curriculum designing. We give you a virtual round of applause, ma'am, and we welcome you warmly, Mrs. Karuna Rajan. Please take over the floor.
Thank you very much, Rajula, for that lovely introduction. And I would like to thank St. Francis College for Women, Human Value Cell and Globeethics.net India for organizing this particular webinar, International Conference on National Education Policy, the opportunity to integrate values in curriculum designing. Such a lovely topic, I feel. Nowadays, all of us, the people who are into education system, those who are into teaching, designing and making the future a better place to live in, are talking about national education policy and talking about values and ethics. My PPT will be shared by Rajula, since on my laptop I am not able to do slideshow. That's why I've asked Rajula. Rajula, first of all, let me thank you for giving me this opportunity. So before this particular slides, I would like to say that all of us know that today's learners, they want to do quick, focused and relevant learning. They expect specific and immediate solutions to their problems. Solutions that are user specific, user friendly and user urgent. And they want content that they can relate well. Even some of us, we know that the students, they want online training, which is close to their real time. And they expect teachers or the trainers to be knowledgeable, skilled and updated. So being a teacher is not an easy job because the expectations are very high from the students, from the parents and from the community. And when we are teachers, all these qualities are expected from the teachers. So teacher has to enjoy teaching, make a difference, has to spread positivity, teacher has to give 100%, has to be organized, is open-minded, has standards, very much important, which we all the speakers have been speaking, the values and ethics. We have to be finding inspirations for ourselves in someone else and we learn from that person or any other who's doing very well in the community or in our own field. We have to embrace changes and create reflection. As teachers, we know that we have to have all these qualities. Then only we can set an example to our students. Then what as an individual we have to do? Next slide, please, madam. That particular video may not play because I've sent the PPT. Maybe later on I can share that video. Here Mahatma Gandhi said that literacy is in itself is no education. Literacy is not the end of education or even the beginning. By education, I mean an all-round drawing out of the best in the child and man, body, mind and spirit. All of us know in India, we want everyone to be literate because not 100% people are literate. But now is a time that we have to give proper education to everyone around us. Although we say that school is there, government schools are available, the child has to go to school, but the situation is different and we know about it. So as an educator or as a teacher educator, we have to see that whoever comes to our institutions, our organization, that all-round development can be done with the help of the teachers. Without teachers, the students cannot go ahead. There are so many examples where teachers are being praised, teachers are being set as an example for the students for learning, for telling the student that you have this particular quality, you have this particular talent and you can do much more in your area. Next slide, please. These quotes, I got it on net, and we know Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, his views on education, he said, education should be imparted with a view to the type of society that we wish to build. We are working for a modern democracy built on the values of human dignity and equality. These are only ideals. We should make them living forces. Our vision of the future should include these great principles. Still, it is very much relevant that we have to work on the society which will build the students with values and ethics. This in the books or when we say in the webinars is, it looks very good, but practically going to inculcate these values and ethics in our students is a big question. And until and unless as teachers we don't understand, then it is not going to pass on to our students. Ma'am, we can go for the next slide. That's why before me, doctor has already told about National Education Policy 2020, what it says. Again, I will try to say few things from NEP 2020. It focuses on construction of knowledge by the child, moving away from rote methods, reduction of information load, integration of concerns such as gender, inclusion, sensitivity towards environment, constitutional values across subject areas. In the National Education Policy 2020, the key overall thrust of curriculum and pedagogy reform across all stages is to move the education system towards real understanding and towards learning and away from the culture of rote learning as is largely present today. All of us know some teachers or professors were writing in the comments and in Q&A section also, they have mentioned that the institutions are result oriented. I would not say the institutions or the teachers are result oriented, but the parents, when they come to the institution, they expect only the result. They want their children to get 100% so that they can prepare them for some examination, some competitive examination, because all the parents, they want their children to get the highest marks, which is not possible. It is not understood by the parents. Being a teacher and when you are a parent also, you get confused, and as a parent you demand that my child should get 100%. And that's why I feel all the institutions are moving towards and only the result. They don't understand how it should be learned. What is the meaning of understanding? And towards learning, how to learn is also very, very important. So in National Education Policy, it is said that we have to give more focus on practical education. Next slide, please. NEP aims at building character and creating holistic and well-rounded individuals equipped with the key 21st century skills, including cognitive skills. Manifestation of knowledge, which is a deep-seated treasure within an individual as perfection. Moving towards real understanding and learning how to learn and away from the culture of rote learning. Developing learners into a good, successful, innovative, and productive human beings in today's rapidly changing world. So here NEP, I don't think that whatever is mentioned in NEP is everything is wrong, but it is telling that the child has to have that successful life. Whatever he learns in the college or in the school, he should not unlearn when he is into his job or into his own work. Nowadays, we have seen many of, just an example I would like to share, like many of the engineers, when they finish their engineering, they come out, they get good marks, they get good degrees. And when they are working practically, they say that whatever we have learned at the college, we have to unlearn and relearn. So this is the case. If this is what we are doing at the college level or school level, then they are wasting their 15 years of education or 4 years of education, I would say. If they are not given that practice, what they are learning and how they are going to use this knowledge in their future. Building character and creating holistic and well-rounded individual. Ma'am, we have done this. Can we go sorry. Building character and creating holistic and well-rounded individuals equipped with key 21st century's manifestation of knowledge, which is deep-seated treasure within an individual as perfection. Moving towards real understanding and learning how to learn and away from culture of rote learning, and developing learners into a good, successful, innovative, adaptable and productive human beings in today's rapidly changing world. Ma'am, can we have the next slide, please? Understand what is the meaning of education, because we are going to design new curriculum for our students under new education policy. Education liberates human beings from the shackles of ignorance. All of us know this, deprivation and sufferings. It must also lead to a non-violent and non-exploitative social system. And how this is going to happen. Next slide. Education. Young girls and boys are to be empowered through education to increase their capabilities. Ma'am, I think is my internet slow or your internet slow? Okay. Young girls and boys are to be empowered through education to increase capabilities. Education says that curriculum therefore has to aim at enabling learners to acquire knowledge, develop understanding and inculcate skills, positive attitude, values and habits conducive to the all-round development of their personality. That's why we say when we design curriculum or in future, all the teachers are involved in designing curriculum. So what are the things we have to keep in our mind to inculcate values and ethics while designing curriculum? Curriculum helps to generate and promote among the learners the language skills, communication skills, social skills, mathematical abilities to develop a logical mind, scientific temper. We know when we are designing curriculum, all these things have to be developed among the students. So skills of language, communication, social skills are important, and maybe that has to be inculcated in our curriculum. Curriculum is understanding of the environment in its totality, both natural and social, and their interactive processes. Balance between technology and culture and tradition of the country. Contributions by social activists. Are we putting that in our curriculum or not? Is it available? If it is not there, then in which of the activities we can include this type of knowledge or this type of education to be given to our students? Curriculum helps to generate and promote among the learners knowledge of and respect for the national symbols and the desire and determination to uphold the ideals of identity and unity. Deep sense of patriotism and nationalism should also be included in our. Ma'am, Rajula ma'am, I think you have not changed the slides. Sorry, this is very confusing. Can you go ahead? Yeah.
This is the one.
Yeah, you can go ahead still. Still, one more, two more. Curriculum helps to generate and promote among the learners language skills. I've done this. Communication skills, social skills. Go on, ma'am. Mathematical abilities. Yes, go on. Understanding of environment in its totality, both natural and social. Contributions by social activists. Balance between technology and culture and tradition of the country is also very important. So curriculum helps to know the knowledge of and respect for national symbols and desire and determination to uphold the ideals of identity and unity. Ma'am, next slide please. Deep sense of patriotism and nationalism should also be there in our curriculum. Understanding the positive and negative impact of the processes of globalization, liberalization and localization in the context of the country. It should be there in our curriculum. Next slide please, ma'am. Curriculum helps to generate and promote among the learners knowledge, attitude and habits necessary for keeping physically and mentally fit and strong in perfect harmony with the earth, water, air, fire and the sky. That's why we see that in our curriculum, when we design curriculum, sports activities are much more important for all the children at higher education, at primary education, at secondary education, because we fit physically and mentally. right? So the qualities and characteristics, ma'am, do you want to the earlier slide? Sorry, dear participants. Okay. Is it possible to have full slide? There is some problem is happening with. Eighteenth slide. Yes. Yes, 18th slide. I have seen that the sports activities to be there to keep the children mentally and physically active. Qualities and characteristics necessary for self-learning, self-directed learning, and lifelong learning, leading to the creation of learning society. Qualities and characteristics, self-learning is also very, very important. At higher education, usually in our institution, we practice that 10% or 15% of the syllabus is given to the do it on their own, they do the presentation, and that is giving them that confidence to self-learn, to know more about a particular subject or particular curriculum, so that they have that confidence. If we are teachers who do spoon feeding, then that will not help the students to grow, that will not come out the fear which they have in themselves, and they will never learn to face the society in reality. Ma'am, next slide. So curriculum helps to build capacity not only to process information but also to understand, reflect, and internalize and develop insight. Next slide. So when we are designing curriculum, the willingness to work hard, entrepreneurship, and dignity of manual world necessary for increasing productivity, obtaining job satisfaction, and creating wealth generation system is also very, very important to be put in our curriculum. I'm sure most of the teachers in near future are going and will be designing their curriculum so that it becomes a perfect curriculum for our future, for our students and inculcate those values and ethics. It's not the values and ethics have not disappeared, or it is not something new in our society, or it's new in this generation. Values and ethics are there in us. It's there from decades with us, but somewhere it has taken the back seat, and because of that many people are suffering. So we have to get those values and ethics back by thinking about it and by making it practically very much important for everyone. As earlier speaker said, that as teachers or as teacher educators or as in the education system, we first have to practice those values and ethics. Then only we can tell that yes, I am doing it, now my students will follow me, because we know in the classroom there are 50-60 students, they are observing us, they are looking at us. There are 100 eyes looking at us, not only in the classroom but outside. So if we practice those values and ethics ourselves, then automatically we can preach about it and our students can copy us. Next slide. Curriculum helps to generate and promote among the learners appreciation of the various consequences of large families and our population and need for checking population growth also. Are we talking to our children about this, how it is affecting? Are we talking to our children about sex education? Are we talking to our children about menstrual cycle to the girls? Are we educating them? Education is very, very important so that we can improve upon our society. Cultivating proper understanding, ma'am, cultivating proper understanding. Sorry. I missed that slide. Understanding of an attitude towards healthy sex-related issues and respectful attitude towards members of opposite sex. Naturally, we need to talk to our students. Then only they will understand why we have to respect each other. Not only respect each other, but try to understand the problems which are faced by opposite sex. Now we have seen that there are transgenders in our society. There are people having interest in the same sex. So do we embrace the change as a teacher and then give that example to our students? Then only we can have peaceful society. So cultivating proper understanding of an attitude towards healthy sex related issues and respectful attitude towards members of the opposite sex is also very, very important. Ma'am, next slide. That's why how we are going to design the curriculum. We know in curriculum first is planning, then it has to be development, implementation and evaluation. So when we are developing any curriculum or designing curriculum, what are the things we have to keep in mind? Curriculum is courses or programs of study offered by any educational institution. Curriculum defined by Webster is a course of study offered by a school, college, university, educational institutions, organizations. Curriculum is learning content, activities and structures as experienced by the students. So the curriculum of a school, college or university is a formal and informal content and process by which learners gain knowledge and understanding, develop skills and alter or attitudes, appreciations and the directions of the school. Next. Curriculum enables learners to acquire knowledge, understanding, inculcate skills, develop positive attitudes, values and habits conducive to all-round development of their personality. We have seen this earlier also. Ma'am, next slide please. We know, but now when we are developing curriculum, what are the things we have to keep in mind? How we are going to design the curriculum, for whom we are doing that, why we are doing that, what are the expectations from this particular curriculum, for whom we are doing that, when this curriculum will be given or when this curriculum will be studied by the students, what type of resources which are available and where this particular curriculum will be practiced or which type of students are going to study. Since we are very much worried about earlier Christine told us that the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals are there. There are 17 goals and each goal tells us that we need to improve on each and every area. There is environment, there is water, there is poverty, there is education, there is peace. Areas we need to improve upon, then only we can say that sustainable development is taking place. Nowadays most of us are worried about environment, how to improve, how to stop degradation. Earlier there were 3 cycles, 3 R's which were followed by the environmentalists. Now we have to see that action is taking place as individual, how we are going to save our environment. Are we putting that in our curriculum? Are we practically making our students and ourselves work towards betterment of our environment? Based on that we can design our curriculum. Next slide please. We know, just now I said why to formulate curriculum, for whom to formulate the curriculum, what to indicate in the curriculum, how to use the curriculum, who is to use the curriculum, when to use the curriculum, where to use the curriculum and what type of resources to be used in the curriculum. We know India is a very large country. It's a diverse country. There are very, very poor people and there are very, very rich people. So depending on the society, depending on the people around us, after doing a particular planning, after knowing what type of people are around us, what type of students are coming to us, based on that curriculum can be design. So teachers should be ideally be involved at every stage of curriculum planning and development, that is from the formation of the aims to the evaluation and maintenance of the curriculum. Teachers' help should be sought for developing curriculum and conceptualizing resource design. Particularly, teachers are important because teachers understand the students better. They understand the level of the students better. That's why teachers should be involved in designing the curriculum. Teachers can assist in designing supportive educational environment because they understand the students much better than any other person. Teachers can communicate with the deep knowledge of their respective subjects, and therefore they can guide the curriculum planners on that should be included in the curriculum and what should not be included. As the teachers are in close contact with the students, he or she knows better what kind of difficulties are the students facing with the present curriculum. Therefore, he or she can give the advice on how to simplify the curriculum. I'm sure National Education Policy 2020, when it was drafted, many teachers were involved, and other stakeholders were also involved in designing and drafting that National Education Policy. Ma'am, next. As the teachers understand, we know the psychology of the students better. She can help curriculum developing to arrange the curriculum in order from simple to complex, and can also help in developing the curriculum keeping in mind the ability and interest of the students according to the age group to which they belong. And particularly if the teacher belongs to that region, based on that particular community, teachers can design the curriculum. In that curriculum, the values and ethics can be put, and those can be inculcated in our students. Next slide, please, ma'am. I'll take another 2-3 minutes and then I will fill. There are 2-3 slides. Teachers can communicate with the on new curricula projects and thereby make them more receptive to curriculum change. Because this new frame of education system is difficult for the public to accept it. Teachers can talk and tell them like what are the benefits of this type of system which is being adapted, which will be adapted by most of the states in India. Yes, ma'am. Next, this slide, just one slide. I just want to say that what is the difference between syllabus and curriculum. Syllabus is a document that contains all the portion of the concepts covered in a subject. Curriculum is the overall content taught in an educational system or a course. A syllabus is a set for a subject, but curriculum is entire course. Syllabus is set out by exam board, curriculum, government or administration or college or institute. Syllabus is term or period for how long it can be, or a fixed term, normally a year, maybe 2 years. But curriculum till the course lasts, right? Our syllabus, first year syllabus, second year syllabus, third year syllabus, it can be like that. But course is entire 5 years course or 4 years course. It varies from teacher to teacher, but curriculum is same for all the teacher, whatever has been designed for the entire course, for the entire institution or entire state or for entire country. Next slide, please. Here's a small information from UNICEF about the country where we live in. India has made great strides in improving access to quality education, increasing elementary school and enrollment, and reducing the number of out-of-school children. Reduced, for sure. These achievements have been bolstered by key laws, policies and programs such as right to children to free and compulsory education, the National Early Child Care and Education Policy. However, there are some challenges which have remained. As estimated, 6.1 million children out of school in 2014, reduced from 13.46 million in 2006. out of 100 students, 29% of the girls and boys drop out of school before completing the full cycle of elementary education. And often they are the most marginalized children. So source has been given here. Around 50% of adolescents do not complete secondary education, while approximately 20 million children not attending preschool. So these sources have given us some number where we have to think about it, we have to study about it. Maybe in these 10 years or 5 years, there are some changes that more children are coming to the school. If children are not coming to school, then how the values and ethics can be taught? If we go to the children who are not in the school, then practically the values and ethics can be inculcated, can be made to learn, or we can make them learn, make them understand what is value and what is ethics. But first we have to make all our children to come to school, and then only practically we can teach them about values and ethics. Not teach, but inculcate in them all these values and ethics. Ma'am, next. So this, how we can do it, what is important for us, going to preach it. Before preaching, how I am going to practice it, that I have to think about as a teacher, which will help my society to grow and to become a better person, a better place to live in. Think a solution for everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity given. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Karuna. So much of learning we had from you, and a very brilliant and a thoughtful presentation about new education policy and curriculum designing. And I would like to bring in Dr. Jordan Methuselah to add to what you have said to the floor. Dr. John.
Thank you, Rajula. Thank you so much. Am I audible?
Yes, Methuselah.
Yeah. So thank you. Right from the beginning, it was a wonderful session. I mean, speaker after speaker, they have given us different dimensions from which they look at this very, very important topic. And I should appreciate Dr. Karuna Rajan for the exhaustive, challenging, and informative presentation. And she was focusing more on the responsibility of teachers and making teachers a vital part of the implementation of curriculum, and also the design of the curriculum, because they would understand what it means. And also she spoke about the implementation of NEP and scaffolded her presentation with the UNICEF's concerns. So thank you so much, Dr. Karuna Rajan, and I would like to take a question if there is any, along with Dr. Rajan.
Sir, I just want to say that many of the questions and even the comments, they are saying that in India it is not possible, or India is a different country. We know that India is a diverse country, but the values and ethics have been there since ages, since decades. In between it has disappeared, or I would say it has taken a backseat. Now as teachers, we have to integrate those. And I mentioned also that yes, if we practice as an individual, like a small value to be on time, or to be before a seminar, for a webinar, or to your class, I think that will give example to our students that this particular teacher is always on time. We have to follow this from our teacher. I think from these small little things we will learn, and our students will learn from our behavior, and how we practice really is helpful for our society. This much I want. Thank you.
Yes. So thank you, Dr. Rajan. If there are no questions I would like to start my session. Yeah, any questions?
Thank you very much for the patient here. Thank you.
I know the students have been patiently, it's not the students, but the listeners have been very patiently listening to all these and coming up with some very, very good questions. And I expect to answer a few questions that were asked to Dr. Dunstan also. And that would be after my session. So Ms. Rachula, can I start my session?
Yes. No, I'll just introduce yourself before that. And we do have quite a lot of questions. And then, in fact, we must appreciate the person who's really coming out with the various questions. And it's not only a question from him. I think it's a question from each of us. And then we all together are looking for an answer to that. And probably the one who's putting the question, if he himself has some answers, in that way that we could actually highlight here, and it will be useful for others also. It's a struggle of all of us together. So you're not alone. We are struggling together to find a proper solution. And it is obvious the country, the system, the education, everything is before us. And so we have to together find a solution, and no individual solution is available. That is what I'm here to mention. So with this few words, let's move to the last speaker of the day. And we have Dr. John Methuselah, and I take pleasure in introducing Dr. John Methuselah to you all. And he teaches English literature at Adikavi Nannaya University in Rajahmundry, Andhra Pradesh. He has 17 years of unique experience in teaching. Particularly, he has played a very active role in industry-academia interface. He's a good leadership trainer, and he has trained quite a lot of young people in his life. He has trained teachers, faculty, and even institutions. He has presented many papers in national and international seminars in India and abroad. He is a published poet. May we now listen to the talk on NEP 2020, the implementation challenges affecting ethics in higher education by Dr. John Methuselah. Dr. Methuselah, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Would you please share my PPT?
Sure.
So, good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure meeting you all. It's a wonderful session. I've been going through the presentations of everyone, and a lot of questions, as Rachula rightly said. The person who asks a question actually adds values to the session. It's not the speaker. It's the person who asks the question who adds the real value to the session. And even I encourage my students to actually ask more questions. And when you ask questions, that means one thing, you are listening. Second one, you are curious. Third one, you're interested. Fourth one, you want things to happen. At any cost, you want that to happen. And that interest, that passion is very important. So this passion is nothing but it comes from an attitude of challenge. And I start my session on challenges of implementation, which would affect ethics in higher education. Thank you so much, Ms. Rajula, for the introduction. And you can see the picture, it's tying the laces. So we will tie the lace and then go ahead to face our challenges. Can we go to the next one? Yes, the speaker still now has spoken elaborately on NEP, the general themes and goals of NEP, the expectations of NEP. Yeah, curriculum is not suitable to the society. It should be linked with the bread writing support course. Yes, we will come to this question. But let me start with the intentions of NEP. I mean, the intended benefits of NEP, National Education Policy. So everybody who has written a policy, right, from the time a policy was written, they had some intention behind the policy. So none writes a policy without any intention. And then this intention would be always to improve the standards. So definitely we expect the intention behind NEP 2020 to actually look at what they have missed to be rewarded now. So it gives importance to students' practical knowledge, one thing. Let me share with you one thing. Once I went to Singapore as I was working with a university, and I was taking care of their placements also. So I had to meet a shipbuilding company in Singapore. And when I went to the company and had a meeting with their CEO and HR in their boardroom, they said, yes, your students are very good. Indian students are particularly very good at scoring marks. They know how to score marks. But then we will take them only after 2 years of experience somewhere. Then I asked them, wow, how can this happen? Then I said, see, your students don't have practical knowledge. They don't have hands-on knowledge. So we cannot take them now as freshers, but we can take them only after a minimum of 2 years experience somewhere. And the question is like this. It's a chicken and the egg question. If you have experience, then you'll be taken the job. And if you have a job, only then you can have an experience. So how can this happen? So when we talk about practical knowledge, instead of pushing them to rote learning, then why is this happening? Why do we want practical knowledge all of a sudden? Was it not there right from the beginning? So keep these questions in your mind. Then the intended benefit of NEP also means developing scientific temper in the students. So how is it intending to develop this scientific temper in the students? So there have been, lakhs of students. And then how many students have actually gone to get a Nobel Prize or all kinds of coveted prizes in the world? Why are our students not getting those prizes? Of course, you may talk about one Sundar Pichai or one Nadendra, but then how many are there? How many are adding values? And developing scientific temper, is it happening in India or after crossing the borders? When is it happening? So this is another question. So in the intended benefit of NEP also means that it is setting up global exposure. I mean, it is setting up infrastructure and opportunities for global exposure and quality. That means there has been a very, very big gap in what they are teaching and what they intend to become finally. So there is a skill gap. When there is a skill gap, it automatically means that there is a quality gap. So as simple as that. Skill gap is the indicator of the quality gap. So if you have quality education, then there is no gap in the skill also. And then the last and the best benefit that NEP intends to is value-based education. So all the speakers till now were speaking on value-based education. Are we rethinking on value-based education? What is value-based education? Like Dr. Karuna was talking about, these values, they were right from the time of Vedas and Upanishads. Yes, fine, they were right from ancient times. But why are we again talking about values? So these, if they are the intended benefits of NEP, then what are the challenges? That is what I would like to focus on. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah, recently, no. I think we have jumped that. Yes, next, yes. So this challenges, discussing these challenges can happen only when we are storming the teacup. Storming the teacup answers all the questions. What is storming the teacup? Teacup is testing, evaluation, and assessment. That is one of my favorite subjects, and I would like to focus more on that. Why do we test somebody? When we give a test, why are we giving a test, and what are the kind of questions that we are asking? Why are we asking? If we are asking those questions to know the knowledge of the students, what is knowledge then? So whatever the students remember in the examination hall, that is knowledge. So in fact, we are trying to give marks to their memory. It's not to their real knowledge. So if knowledge is volatile, if it is not imbibed in them, if it is just gone after they write their examination, then what kind of a knowledge is that? So this is a touchstone method, the testing. It has to be a touchstone method. Then the evaluation. Why do we evaluate? How do we evaluate? What happens after evaluation? Now, when we give marks to the students, why do we give so many marks, or why do we give so less a mark? What actually prompts us to do so? So when we evaluate, how are we evaluating? So when we are talking of implementation, then I think we need to look at this heart of the problem, that is testing, evaluation, and finally assessment. When we say a student is this or that, I mean to say, when we say the student is fit to do this or not fit to do this, that is an assessment. And why are we doing that if it is not actually helping us, helping the student? If we see that the implementation part comes to T, testing, evaluation, and assessment, and if this is not right, whatever happens in the curriculum is a sheer waste of time. It will be a volume of paper, volume of books, and nothing else. So the present teacher, like Dr. Karuna said, present teacher is the product of a system, and if anybody is coming back to the teacher to actually write a curriculum, what would the teacher write? What would the teacher suggest? Because she is the product of the system that has failed. So if you think that the system has failed, the teacher who is a product of the system, how can she actually help the system? Is there a way? I don't say yes, I don't say no, because the listeners, you know what it means. We can have a discussion on that. Then the other implementation challenge is the continuous updated training and development for the teachers, because this infuses a kind of sense in them about what is happening, what is required, and all that. Now these days we are teaching them nonsense. Are we not? Teaching nonsense in the classroom. Because why I say this, because students care for guides, not the texts. Students care for test papers and not texts. So when they are caring for guides and test papers and somebody helping them, as long as to do that, then the curriculum fails. So if the teacher is going to the class with a good methodology to implement properly the value-based education, then she or he has to be trained, and they have to develop, they have to be encouraged to research. Where is the time for the teacher to research? Right from morning till evening, all the sessions, they have to go to the classes, they have to teach all the time. And when are they coming back and looking at their research work? Do they have the time? I think the listeners would know the answers for this. So if this is happening, then how can implementation happen? Then coming to the curriculum for training and development, it should be the focus point of all the education system that is going on. So curriculum not for the students, but curriculum for the training and development of faculty also is very, very important. Why we train the faculty? On what do we train the faculty? Faculty are the vehicles. They drive the curriculum. So if that is happening, then I think they should be properly trained, properly salaried. Is that not a challenge? That is a challenge. Then let me talk of the measurables, observables, and achievables. The mode in order to deal with the present chaos, I would call channels for achieving observable success. So if the students get 90% mark, it is an observable success for everyone. We don't care for why 90% has come or how it has come and how that 90% will actually help him. Have we tested his memory and given him 90 marks? Or have we tested his knowledge and given him 90 marks? Have we tested his ability to actually apply his knowledge or not? Have we tested his creativity in applying the knowledge or not? This doesn't happen these days in the schools and colleges. So the deliverables, I mean the curriculum, I would like to call the curriculum as the deliverable, because we deliver that in the classroom. So this deliverable must have a measurable. First of all, let us zero in on the measurables. and then write the deliverables, and in between it should be what do we want to observe in the student, what kind of change do we want to observe in the students, because education is all about making a change in the behavior. So when we want to see a change in the behavior, what is the kind of behavior that we want to observe? What is the kind of change we want to observe in them? And what do we want to achieve through this curriculum? We have never thought, we always think that the student has to achieve 90% marks. Is that the actual goal of all of us? Is that the achievable we are looking at? If that is the achievable we are looking at, then we are doing nothing else. Then there's no point in talking about NAP 2020. No point of change then. And we find that the most challenging issue is the digital infra. Digital infrastructure is one very big problem. Somebody has questioned, I have seen in the chat box, somebody has questioned, there is a lot of digital divide. Many students are poor, they are not able to buy gadgets. How is that possible? Yes, this is true. This is true. The government has to provide every kind of digital infrastructure possible. At the same time, digital infrastructure is not enough, and there should be athletic infrastructure. Athletic infrastructure, I mean an infrastructure where the students will be allowed to play, allowed to build their body physically, be healthy. If they are not physically healthy, that's the biggest challenge. So if you have higher goals, or the bigger the goal, the more your attention should be on your physical wellness. And if when the student plays a game in the playground, they will know how to lose. They will know that they should win after losing, and they should not get frustrated at every loss. But if you are just digitalizing everything, making them sit in the classroom, they will get easily frustrated, and psychologically they are down, and they are useless. If psychologically they are beatable, they are simply useless. So I would say digital infrastructure must match the athletic infrastructure, because only digital infrastructure will incapacitate their growth and development. So that is another challenge that I have found. So can we go to the next one? Yeah. So what did the Supreme Court say about this digital divide? Recently, the Supreme Court warned that the digital divide caused by online classes will defeat the fundamental right. What is that? Fundamental right of every poor child to study in mainstream schools. Somebody has brought up that issue in the questions. Wonderful. So, and the Supreme Court lamented how the right to education of little children now depends on who can afford gadgets for online classes and who cannot. It's about haves and have-nots. Haves and have-nots was about, first of all, it was about roti, kapda or makan. But now it is about having a gadget. And not ordinary, anybody can have a phone, but having a smartphone is different. And smartphone, you have qualitative phones, you have a lot of apps, and you have phones with more storage and all that. So the issue is so serious. This issue of digital divide is definitely a very, very serious thing, as somebody has questioned, and I would stand with them on this. Yes, we have a serious issue of the 21st century. Can we go to the next one? This is a serious challenge. So what I would say, all for one, one for all. That is what they say. The three amigos, they say one for all for one. So we need to have, if we must be together in this, then we should make education whatever we think is the right curriculum, because whoever is attending this program definitely knows what change must happen. I understand that people who have come here, assembled here, you have assembled here to actually know if there is something that will help you to actually improve on things that you already know. So what I would say is accessibility. Look at making education, the right kind of education, accessible. So how much ever changes you bring in the curriculum, it doesn't matter if it's not accessible. If you don't have the gadgets, then how can it be accessible? Then affordability. Can the student afford such technology? If they can't afford such technology, then why? If the education is not affordable, people say that once upon a time they were not able to go to a school and now they are able to school. So what? The problem remains the same, because the student, if he's not affordable, if he's not able to afford technology in his hand, then what use is it? How can he access? Then researchability. How many teachers are actually focusing on researchability? Anything, can it be researched? If research happens from school onwards, from higher education, if research happens, ethical research, if it happens, then it will help our country, it will help the world also, it will help the neighborhood. And if you research, definitely I think curriculum can change. Whatever curriculum is given to you, it can change based on your researchability, your aptitude for research. So what I say is, teachers, please develop on your researchability. Then disseminability. Whatever knowledge you have, are you ready to disseminate that knowledge or not? See, for ages, knowledge has not been disseminated and we are suffering now. Some people have come and disseminated knowledge, and that's the reason why a part of the world is called developed country. And why we are not developed? Because because knowledge was not disseminated. Some people thought that the knowledge must be with them. So disseminability of knowledge must happen. Even these days, you know, if somebody goes for a patent, that product will be patented for 20 years, and after 20 years anybody can use. So disseminability is after 20 years, and I would say that has to come down to somewhere around 10 years. Then discussability. Any topic, like talking about third sex. So can we discuss certain things? Can we discuss very bold things in the class? Can we discuss things that we want to hide, things that we think are taboo in the class? If we can do that in the class, then I think we are actually growing. Otherwise, we are going back to the dark ages. What is happening now? Is there academic integrity within us? Do we have that academic integrity to say that we have copied it from somewhere, or are we still going for plagiarism because we are pressurized by the authorities that we have to present a paper? If that pressure on us is actually killing our academic integrity, let's not do that. Then rational thinking. Are we promoting rational thinking, or are we promoting religious thinking? What is that kind of thinking that we are promoting in the class? Then acceptability. Are we accepting each other? Like Dr. Karuna, I would like to once again, mention her. No, she was talking about the acceptability. So can we accept each other, accept the differences, accept the colors available, accept the handicapped people around us? I mean, they are called differently abled now. Can we accept their haves and have-nots? Can we accept their background and then take them into our fold? Can we stand one for all and all for one? Can this be implemented? Yes. If this is all for one and one for all, everything can be implemented, and it is implementable. Can we go to the next one, please? Can we go to the next one, please? Rajula? Yeah. So don't wait for the ship to come and swim out to meet it. Yeah, please go back. So let's not wait for changes to come, and let's not wait for the government to do something, because for NEP 2020, it took 30 years to form NEP 2020, and they say 2040. I mean, in another 10 years, they say it will be completely implemented, and by 2040, we will actually go step by step to implement NEP 2020, and that would be completely implemented in 2040. That is what their vision is. So let's not wait for 2040 for things to happen, because most of us will retire by that time, right? Or will become old by that time. So let's not wait for that time. Let us work solutions till now. Every one of us, we all have solutions with us. Don't say and don't let me believe that you don't have solutions. We all have solutions with us, and we just need to have the guts to implement, the integrity to implement. So network for the cause of ethics at higher education. Globeethics is one organization that actually lets us to network for the cause of ethics at higher education. So wherever you are, in Goa, in Kerala, in Tamil Nadu, in Andhra, in America, or in Ghana, wherever we are, in Africa, wherever we are, we can still network for the cause of ethics in higher education, and we can actually share our thoughts and challenges and how we have done with those. And let us start thinking and implementing from now on whatever are our solutions, and let us share the solutions, the successes and the failures also. Let us share with each other. Let's have a forum. Maybe Globeethics can, if possible, I would like to request Rajula and Christine also actually share their success and failures on the website. Can you give a space for all of the faculty to share their success in implementing ethics at higher education or their failures, so that we can share and then ask and advise each of us? We can
Yes.
like comrades, we can stand one for all and all for one, ask each other for advice and give the advice also. So there I would like to end. I suppose my time is up by now. So thank you so much. Any questions you want to ask me?
Thank you, Mathusala. It was short, sharp, brilliant, and beautiful. And already you've been receiving a lot of comments in the chat box, and it goes like a good thought-provoking session, sir. Very interesting session, quality session. Really very informative and interesting session. Thank you, sir, from the bottom of the heart. So already they started thanking you. That means they have received the message that you were trying to convey. And I'm happy we have achieved what we really wanted. Even Dr. Karuna, who's the previous speaker, she has mentioned that the differences are in the minds of adults. You see primary section students, they never have problem accepting any type of person. So I also joined the participants in appreciating and thanking the presentation you had with us today. And I would like to bring in Dr. Karuna Rajan and Dr. Joseph Dunstan, and probably if they have anything to add or give their comments based on today's happening from the beginning till now, all the speakers and this particular event. So I would like to give a moment to each of them. And Dr. Joseph Dunstan, are you there? Yes, sir.
I am. Do you hear me, Regula?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm here. John gave us a very enlightening talk on the implementation. Very enlightening. But anyway, let's see, because till 2040, how many states will come forward to implement this policy is a big question. Tamil Nadu, I don't know. We have already started MPhil classes, right? We have restarted MPhil in all the universities and colleges. That's the first thing to go against NEP 2020. Like that, it's going on. Let's see what's going to happen. At least now 5th standard and 8th standard public examinations have been dropped. That we really represented in with the Katsuri Rangan when we had the meeting in NEP. Let's see what best will happen out of this. Certain things are right, but the digital divide, it will definitely take a lot of time. I tell you, personally, I had a lot of problems in Nagaland, especially my students from the forest. They were not able to listen to the classes, neither they were able to write the examinations. They have to take their cycle and go to another 10 kilometers to get the proper, network, and then start writing. It is very difficult, especially in Northeast region, it's not at all possible. It's not at all possible. I don't know how they will be able to do that, but they say they can, improve GER with the blended learning of offline and online. I don't know. Only once again, the urban area will stand to benefit. Now, Dr. John was able to do that beautifully well. That implementation will have lots of difficulty.
Thank you, sir. And there is a concern expressed in the Q&A, and this particular person really today has contributed a lot. And then I would like to mention here that we all have to work together, and it's a question of everyone, and not only the speakers, even the participants, organizers, because it's a struggle for all of us, and then we belong to one country, and then that is how we have to take it, I feel. And the main concern is, it's a concern of me also. In India, the students, they get the education, and here they find it very difficult to shine, but when they go abroad, they really shine. So he would like to know the opinion of the speaker in this regard, and even the other speakers can add.
John, you want to answer this question? Or now today, I don't call it a brain drain at all. I won't call it a brain drain, because the best talents, they go out of our country, and then even when they go for their postgraduate studies, Indians are being absorbed, I tell you. I know a particular family, when they went for their higher studies, from Anna University, Chennai, 6 students joined. From that MS Structural Engineering, all the 6 students were absorbed in the particular company, when others were not. Even English people were not doing the work properly. They chucked them out. Natives, they were not at all bothered, but they retained Indians. Why? Our students are committed, brilliant. Students are committed and brilliant. And I know very well today now, they are asked to come back to India, but they think they will not be. But what are we going to do? Maybe NEP can do something, that internationalization, when they bring in company, the universities here, the top 100 universities here, and if they start recruiting our students here, I think there may be some kind of a twist or turn to that. But now students take Sundar Pichai as a model, Nadella as a model, and they want to go. Yesterday I was talking to one of our students in the college, some kind of a motivation. They asked me the question, sir, we would like to be a Sundar Pichai and we want to get settled in America. So this is the kind of a mindset they have today. And how are we going to change that? It's not possible. How adaptable we will be. See, in Nagaland, I had a problem. The student cannot sit in a class for more than 2 hours. So what should we do? Governor was having a separate discussion with me. So we introduced a lot of practicals even for the arts students. Communication classes, debates and all those things. After 2 hours, they'll have some kind of a practical work, and then they'll come back to the class. And for them, dance and music, it is their blood. So we have to give those things. So that is what now we are doing. So I don't know, I will never call it a brain drain, but how are we going to create opportunities for our students in our country? Do we give opportunities? That is one of the biggest questions I would like to ask. I don't know how John Methuselah will be responding to that particular thing.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm 100% with you, but I would like to add 2 points to that. One is, like you have very correctly said, opportunities, lack of opportunities. And then there is a platform there to work on. There's a platform there, and then there is openness to invite people to come and work. So they actually look at the commercial part, and they don't look at caste and religion part there. So anybody who can deliver for them, that's all they need. If they can deliver, they will bring and put them there. And as you said, commitment. Our students from rural areas are particularly so much committed. Even the city bred are not so committed. Rural students are very effective, efficient, and very committed. and you find all kinds of students in the top positions over there. So there they go for opportunities, and then the education there also is more practical. Like I told in my session, they look at the practical side of things rather than the theoretical side of things.
I also would like to endorse the views of Dr. John Methuselah, asking the participants to post the failures and successes that can be organized as a separate seminar. I think I request personally Ms. Regila to go into that. But those questions and answer session, or even success and failures, can form the major theme of the next seminar on this implementation of NAAC. I think that will do a lot of good.
We will be definitely happy to have that particular move, and it can be our next initiative also. In fact, it will be wonderful to have a testimony where we have both positive and negative. We can collect, work on it, and then move forward. And it will be a wonderful move. And I'll get back to you, dear participants, in this regard. Thank you really so much for giving us good cooperation and attending the program. And information to the participant, the feedback form already thrice posted in the chat box. Do not miss it and scroll upwards to submit the feedback again. And it has been a brilliant session, plus talk and interaction. And from my side, I thank Dr. John Methuselah and thank Dr. Joseph Dunstan. And
thank you, Rajula. Thank you so much. And I thank all the participants for making this a wonderful session.
I would like to give 1 minute to Dr. Karuna for her to say something as a closing remark for us.
Rajula, can we allow some participant to speak on this if you have time? One participant who is interested, maybe.
Yeah, it's a vibrant session. We can ask some of the participants also to give the feedback to make it more vibrant.
They can post it in the chat box, which we can read because we are in the panel. Yes, Dr. Karuna.
Thank you very much for this opportunity, and this has given me this opportunity to listen to great people like Dr. Dutson, Dr. Methuselah, Christine also spoke, and it has inspired me to do the things which will help our students to grow. Naturally, it's difficult. We know how it is in our society, in Indian society, but as teachers, what is good for our children, for our students, accordingly we have to have our teachings. So this type of webinars and conference where we can discuss and we can put forth our ideas and our thinking will definitely inspire some of the participants where they can act it out, they can practically do it. So thank you so much, Globeethics, and thank you so much, Women College of Education, who's doing great work. Thank you, Rajula, for this opportunity once more.
Thank you. And there is a comment from Ghana. It is always educative to be a part of Globeethics Net India initiative. Plus, there is a scholar for my MD dissertation. I'm working on NEP 2020. This webinar was exceptionally helpful to me. Thank you. So what else you want to close the day with? So we are already paid for our initiative. And from my heart, on behalf of Globeethics Net and St. Francis College for Women, my sincere thanks to each of you speakers. And
thank you. Thank you very much, Rajula. Thank you.
Thank you all. And we
thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, John. It was an excellent session. Ma'am, Dr. Karuna Rajan, thank you very much. It was a real good. This time I see this. I think for me it is the 5th webinar, but this time it was really vibrant. And
Dr. Dunstan, thank you so much.
On a different platform nowadays. Maybe he's putting that French beard and all
so
that.
Much, sir.
We're not done with the program. Yeah, we have some more we have not finished the program yet, and we have Dr. Jyoti Rani here, and I hand over the time to Dr. Jyoti Rani.
Thank you, Rajila ma'am. It was indeed a great session, sir, and all the dignitaries, the speakers have well spoken, and it was really a brainstorming session and with a thought-provoking, and there is a lot to carry home. There is a takeaway message. So hopefully this session will definitely bring a change in each person to think differently, to face the challenges, and bringing NAP 2020 will be a great success, I feel. And this seminar is really a wonderful seminar. Having you all is a great pleasure to all of us. Thank each and every speaker of today, especially Rajula ma'am, for coordinating. And now I hand over this session to Mary Jasmine, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, to propose the vote of thanks with a brief report.
Thank you, Dr. Jyoti Rani.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. I present before you a brief report of the International Conference on National Education Policy 2020, the opportunity to integrate values in curriculum designing. The program commenced with a welcome address by our beloved principal, Dr. Sister Sandra Hotta. This was followed by Ms. Deepa James, Head Department of Commerce, providing a brief introduction to the conference. Ms. Christian Hausen, Donor Relations and Strategic Partnership, Globeethics.net, Geneva, Switzerland, oriented on ethical foundation of global partnerships. It was a pleasant and informative talk. Dr. R. Limbadri, Chairman of Telangana State Council for Higher Education, oriented us to the relevance of ethics and values in higher education and the role of the national education policy in enabling this. The first technical session by Dr. Joseph Dunstan, former Vice Chancellor of St. Joseph University, Dimapur, Nagaland, on the topic National Education Policy 2020, a study of integration of values and ethics in higher education. It was enlightening and informative. His conversational style was engaging and thought-provoking, and also stated that for the success of value education, we need motivated, energized, and engaged faculty. The session was followed by a question and answer session. The technical session 2 was handled by Dr. Karuna Rajan, Associate Professor, GVMS, Dr. Dada Vaidya College of Education, Goa, on the topic, Professional Values and Ethics in Curriculum Designing. Ma'am stated that there is a need to orient ourselves to modify the topic into an academic and practical approach. The session was followed by a question and answer session. The third technical session by Dr. John Methuselah, Department of English, Adikavi Nannaya University, Rajahmundry, on the topic, National Education Policy 2020, the implementation challenges affecting ethics in higher education. It was a depth and comprehensive presentation. The session was followed by a question and answer session. Now, as we come to the end of the conference, it is my pleasure to propose the vote of thanks. On behalf of our management, staff, and students of St. Francis College for Women, Begumpet, Hyderabad of Telangana State, a sincere thanks to Globeethics.net India for collaborating with our college for this important event. I thank V. Rajula, Program Executive and National Officer of Globeethics India, for effectively and efficiently coordinating the entire webinar. I thank our management, particularly Dr. Sister Sandra Hotta and Dr. Sister Shirley, for giving us this opportunity to organize this event as part of the Human Values Cell. I thank Ms. Deepa James for her introduction and highlighting the need and objective of the conference. I thank Dr. R. Limbadri for his valuable words. A heartfelt thanks to Ms. Christine Hausen, Dr. Joseph Dunstan, Ms. Karuna Rajan, and Dr. John Methuselah for their time and efforts in educating and enlightening all of us on the various aspects of integrating values and ethics in the curriculum. My thanks are also due to Reverend Dr. Jose Nandikara, National Director, Globeethics.net, for the constant support in organizing the event. I thank all the participants for their active participation and knowledge sharing. Thank you, one and all. Mary Jasmine signing off.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Regula, for the chance. Wonderful opportunity. Thank you. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. John. Thank you, organizers. Thank you, Mr. Ram. Jyoti ma'am, Deepa ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your kind cooperation, and you meticulously has done a very good job. We really thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your kind cooperation, and you meticulously has done a very good job. We really thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.